Hello everyone and welcome back to Factory Town. It has been a little while. Some of you may have seen my channel update video and will be aware that I've been away for a week. There's no easy way of putting it. I need to get my head sorted out, basically. The 2020 has been taking a toll, and I'm frankly a little bit impressed that it took me that long to need to take a break to sort my head out. But I feel a bit more sorted now, so we are back to Factory Town amongst many other things. But in the end of the last episode, because I did have to do the kind of meme-y thing of watch my last video to work out what I was doing, the very first thing I promised to do in this episode was to upgrade the base with 100 blue coins, 40 reinforced planks, my lord, and 20 iron wheels. So there we go, bonk. We have now got the specialty goods, mana purification, jewelry, and another 5 houses, which is actually very, very nice indeed. And that is going to give us something we can start looking into in the school. Particularly mana purification. We're going to be going straight for magic, and this kind of marks the point where we're starting to transition from the mid-game toward the beginning of the end game. Now, with that going ahead in the school, there are a couple of things that I wanted to address. A lot of people pointed out, quite rightly, that we aren't making a berry cake every 10 seconds, that the output is a little bit slower because I'm making so many things in this factory. Now, there are a couple of ways that we can sort that out by bringing in steam and so on and so forth. We can increase the production, but wouldn't it be just better if we simply didn't have this slowdown at all by having each kitchen do one thing? And yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. If you want to go for peak efficiency, that's the way you should do it. Every single workshop should be making only one thing and passing that on to the next workshop, so on, so forth. And it is a fairly easy way that we can do that. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do is split up the butter production. That's just a simple kitchen, doesn't need any fuel, so it's super easy for us to do. The next thing would be jam, which is going to require some fruit and some sugar to be able to make the jam. Then you want the berry cakes, and that's where you bring the butter, the eggs, the flour, the sugar together to make a cake, and then you want the jam that you've already made, the berry cake you've already made, and then some fresh berries and sugar to make the berry cake itself. So we're going to go ahead and do that whilst we're working on mana purification. And the first thing I think we're going to do is we are going to bring up the butter production and the jam production. Shall we bring all of that over here, or we could have it just along here, maybe just on the outside, on the outskirts, I guess. We could have a little kitchen here producing jam, little kitchen over here producing butter. That probably wouldn't be too bad at all things considered. Yeah, I think I'm down for that. So let's go ahead and place one right there, and then another one just over here. There we go. Now, we are going to need to change up our piping, because currently we're piping all of the milk over here, and that's not where we want it to be. No. We want the milk to be in here. Let's go ahead and find the milk. Where are you? Sorry, not milk, butter. I mean, we're using the milk, so finding the milk is probably a good start, but no. Right, okay, so we are going to next want to go down into the fluid pipe overlay, and from here, we should be able to very neatly just branch this off to about here. I think we are then going to want to grab you. Let's pop that one there, and then come out of the overlay entirely, because it still means a lot to me to have these pipes on the 3D grid. I know, it's very silly, but it is what it is. I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't matter a lot to me, because it really does. I think it looks gorgeous. There we go. Perfect. Right, so you should be happily making a bunch of butter. Next up, we want to make some jam. So we're going to need to grab... Now, this one's a bit of a tricky one. Maybe, in fact, thinking about it, it would be better to have the butter on the other side, because we're going to need to bring both the berries and the sugar down here. Should have considered that one, shouldn't I? Yes, I really should have. So a slight hiccup. I do apologize, but it's better that I caught that now than later. Okay, you know what? Actually, there's going to be an even better way of doing this. If we switch this to jam, and then simply move it. Pop that over there, grab you, move this over here, because we've already got a stockpile of butter. Why waste it? You know? Right, we need to remove all of these. There we go, all the way down. And we'll go back into the pipe overlay. On the plus side, this does mean that our pipes are more or less in the right spot, except for here. We do need to sort that one out, but we can... that is not quite what I wanted. There we go. Thank you very kindly. And we also want to remove everything down there. I know. We're cutting off the berry cakes, and for a moment, our peeps are going to be awfully sad, and that does make me sad as well. But it is what it is. Progress does come with a small bit of sacrifice here and there. We're going to need one of these, making use of the pipette tool liberally, wherever possible. Largely just so I can say pipette. I'm not going to lie, you know, I'm a man of simple pleasures. There we go. Let's bring you up and then across. That is not quite where I wanted it to be, but it'll work. There we go. I think. Hopefully. Are you getting the milk? Yes, you more or less are. Let's just double check that. Yeah, everything seems to be okay. Right then, let's have you just over here. Now, you're going to have access to water. Not that you really need it. You are, however, going to need fuel. So bringing over the fuel, we're starting to get a little bit chaotic down here. I mean, there's coal right there that we could have. So I could set up a mine just to mine that coal. No, I think we're gonna stop shy of that at the very least. But we are going to need fuel. Will you need fuel there? Yes, you will. You, however, will not. No, this one won't, because it's going to be only making the berry cakes itself. That should be okay for now. I'm going to allow it to work through what remains of its inventory, because it did have quite a hefty amount of inventory there. We can set up a little conveyor belt here. Something along these lines. There we go. We'll just bring out the butter. We'll bring out the jam. It's going to look great. We will, of course, make sure that we're very specifically drawing out the right ingredient. It doesn't matter in this case, because there really can only be one ingredient over here, because we are trying to build this up so that, specifically for that purpose, so that everything is made neatly, nice and slowly where it needs to be. Now, unfortunately, yeah, pretty much everything, we're going to have sugar going in 3 different directions. We only need the flour going in 1. The eggs, sugar, and butter. So we would have a little kitchen over here, I'm thinking. Eggs, butter will deliver the sugar and the flour. That means I'm going to need to set this up a little bit differently, and it's going to get in the way a bit, but hopefully it won't be too terribly bad. I might actually benefit from moving a lot of this across. Honestly, not having this here would probably be better than anything else. How much are we producing? We've got a stockpile of fertilizer here. Perhaps it is time that we do something about that. So first, let's remove that completely. We're going to grab a silo. I'll have the silo accept right here. This way we will stockpile it when it's not necessary. There we are. That'll help out quite a lot. And just make sure that these are correctly set, obviously. There we are. And we've now emptied out the farm completely. There we go. Did we have any of the pastures? No, we did not. We probably do want some pastures reasonably soon for the production of fertilizer. I'm going to be honest. I mean, once we've actually got butter flowing a little bit better, then this fertilizer will start flowing as well. But with this, we will be able to go ahead and set up a little something just over here. Now, how tall do we need this to be? Another one as well. There we go. And we'll have 1, 2, 3 there. And then over here, 1, 2, 3. Actually, perhaps... No, I think this should be fine. 1, 2, there we are. And then we can just have the archway. There we go. And then we'll build this up with... Actually, no, I fancy we're going to need the archway over here completely to allow the other materials to pass underneath without being interrupted. Yeah, okay, that works. That works nicely. And then we just want the regular scaffolding here. The boat can easily pass underneath, so we don't need to worry about that. But with this done, we can go ahead and use a chute instead. So something along these lines, just running all the way down and connecting up. That is Perfect. And we can set this one now to release fertilizer. At this point, we want to break the fertilizer chain down here. We'll just get rid of that one. And over time, we'll allow it to just empty this out. In fact, for the time being, we'll just break that connection there so that it will empty out that entire line. Now, do we want to deliver fertilizer over here? May as well, I suppose, since we've already got everything we need. So let's grab this. Now, the best way to do this, as far as I can tell, would be to have something along these lines. Now, is that going to be... I'm going to need to bring it down to it, but I should be able to manage that, I fancy. It'll be a little bit awkward, but I think we're up to the challenge. Maybe. It may be a little bit too awkward. I might have bitten off a teeny bit more than I can chew. We'll need this to be one stage higher all along. Something like that would do. Hopefully. Let's have a look what we can do in terms of making a little bridge. Something along these lines would work wonderfully for me. And bring that up. And we may be able to just have regular scaffolding going all the way across without interrupting with our growing. Those are arteries. That is not quite what I wanted. Let me grab regular scaffolding again. There we go. Yeah, that looks okay, but it's now a little bit too tall. So, my bad. I built that up one too high. What I would like is for it to be that low. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit less than ideal, I'm going to be honest, but we'll still see. We may still be able to do it. It's fine. The grain can grow up through the scaffolding. I don't think there's any problem with that. There is. There really is. But I also can't think of an elegant solution, so we're just going to pretend there isn't. There we go. Bring this all down, and then we can just bring this along here and connect up without any particular troubles. I hope. Something like this. That's 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, of course. Of course, you're not going to play nice. Naturally. But that should still look okay. Gonna need to use a conveyor belt on that far side just to get it up and over, but that should be alright. Now, let's go ahead and bring this chute around all the way over to that conveyor. And then from up here, we can travel back down to this point. That's just adding the turns where necessary. And finally, conveyors. Okay. Now we want to make sure that they are actually being split out evenly. So a splitter as well. There and there. And there we go. Done and done. Perfect. Now I can prioritize these to make sure they get something. But I'm okay for now with that one, I think. Let's just go ahead and remove all of this beautiful scaffolding. It's actually a lot easier to get rid of it than it was to put it there. So, you know, there is at least that. There we go. And thankfully, what you may notice is that when you are building... when you're removing an item, if you've already primed it to remove that item, it will only... Oops, that was not quite what I wanted to do. It will only... so, for example, if I started deleting a chute, I can just keep left click held down and just sweep my mouse quite carefree across the landscape. It won't suddenly start deleting conveyor belts. It's now only trying to delete chutes. It'll only try to delete scaffolding if you started on scaffolding. It'll ignore the chutes at that point, so on and so forth. So it's a bit more of an intelligent system in that regard, which is actually quite nice. I guess we are going to need a little bit of help down here. So we're going to prioritize these ones, and the others can be split evenly. There we go. So that's going to solve out that wee problem there, and that gives us a bit of room to play around with. Now, currently we're bringing all the eggs down here, and again, we want one kitchen is going to make use of the butter, the eggs, some sugar, and some fuel. Okay, and of course the flour. So in a way, we kind of want that over here, really, but we'll have to make do. I mean, this little area here is a good place to have the butter and the eggs delivered to at the very least. But we're going to need to make a bit of extra room, really. So I'm going to need to dig this back a bit. and then lower the terrain down. So we're going to flatten it down up to about here. There we are. And we will go ahead and build a little kitchen just for making cake. There we go. Now, this is going to take us a little bit of effort to get everything loaded in, but it shouldn't be too terribly hard. And excuse me there while I had to stifle a sneeze. Right, we want the sugar, we want the flour, and we want the fuel. Sugar, easy enough to get. Flour, a little bit more of a podge, but still not terrible, especially if we use the good old silo trick. And you might have noticed that sometimes you can just right-click to remove something. Again, very much like when you're specifically deleting blocks, it depends on what block you have there. So, for example, by holding a silo and right-clicking, I'm trying to delete silos, or maybe I'm trying to delete buildings specifically. Either way, I'm not trying to delete conveyor belts, so it wasn't going to let me do that, which is quite useful. Saves you from yourself quite a lot. Let's grab you, and we'll have this just popped down about there. We'll set this one up to gather flour, and then we'll just use a chute to take that along. We're going to want to bring this a good ways up, I think. And 2 down there, and we'll allow it to just roll on down here, I think. Well, we're going to need to make sure that things can pass underneath it, so this should be about right for us. There we go, that'll do. Very nicely, in fact. We're probably going to need sugar to be running towards this one as well, so we probably want to make sure that we can do that. So I will leave a little space there just for running the sugar underneath, using an arch instead of scaffolding. Now, since this is flour, we can quite happily deliver like so. And set this one up to only draw out flour, just in case. Now, sugar is the last thing we need to bring down here, but sugar needs to go into all 3 of these locations. Now, that does make it a little bit more of a potch. I'm going to be honest. Though, I suppose we can just go with the silo once again. Have a silo there. Because the berry cake is still going to need sugar. So this silo can happily accept sugar and deliver it direct to this kitchen. Alternatively, it can deliver it all the way over here as well. There we go. That should do quite nicely, I would say. Actually, we don't need that one. There we go. And just down here, we don't need berries for the regular cakes. Only the berry cakes. But we are going to need conveyor belts for this one. There we go. And let's set that one up for sugar. And that's going to give us jam. Perfect. We're also going to need some sugar down here as well. So let's set that one up. Now, at this point, we should be okay, simply because we've left enough room to have this along the side, almost as if I planned it. And on this one, I actually did, so don't know why I said it like that. There we go. We'll grab a splitter. I think a splitter is fine here. We'll share it out. It'll probably back stuff a little bit further back here, but that's fine. Right, okay, so everything is being delivered except for the fuel. Now, we need fuel in both of these. It is a little bit awkward, I'm not going to lie. We do not need it here any longer. We are out of milk, so let's remove the butter recipe from down here. There we go. So that'll no longer accept milk. We should probably remove the berry cake as well and stop accepting the eggs. Sorry, the regular cake and stop accepting the eggs, or the butter for that matter. There we go. And I'm just going to empty these out. There's no particular reason to have them there. So there we go. It's gone, and we'll put it out to none. Oh. Yeah, probably shouldn't do that. Need to remove this entirely. Is there a particular way that I can stop it from accepting? It can sometimes be a bit of a potch, honestly. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to have to just nix everything. Because it just annoys me otherwise, I'm going to be honest. We will instead... Honestly, sure, we're just going to delete the kitchen and place down another one. Nothing like the nuclear option. Right, we'll go ahead and remove that down. There is a way. I consistently forget how to manage the inventory. I'm not going to paint it as anything than it is. It's me forgetting how to make the game do what I want, rather than the game being unwilling to do what I want. Right, let's pop these down here. We're going to need to come up another 2. That's fine by me. And then much the same over there, I think. Well, actually, there's no reason for us to rise that high. We can have a ramp bring the fuel down to the correct level for us. And that will actually be a lot easier for us to manage. Okay. And we'll have that ramp start around about here, I think. Yep. We'll bring this up by 1 more. Ramp there. And then just link over this little area here without any issue at all. And there's all our fuel needs taken care of. Of course, we do actually need to connect up here as well. Almost forgot that one. There we are. So this kitchen should now be making cakes. This kitchen will be making jam just as soon as I deliver the berries. And then the berry cake kitchen will still be making berry cakes. So let's actually set that up right now. We just want berry cakes, please. There we go. Sugar, berries, jam, and cake. There. We're going to need... Well, we could just have the jam rotate around a little bit, I think. Actually, you know what? As much as it's going to vex some people, I'm going to remove the... There we go. That's actually quite nice. And we're going to have the berries and the sugar coming down from a slightly different position. It'll make it a lot easier for me. I do apologize, my phone is exploding right now. Not literally, you understand. I've got to be quite clear about that whenever I'm talking about a Samsung phone. Trials and tribulations. There we go, that's fine. I'll just turn it that... Well, actually, it doesn't really matter all that much, as long as it's pointing in a direction that I can take the sugar out of. There we go. And we'll bring this down to there. Very nice indeed. And all the way down there. There we go. This will be grand. Right, let's move you. I want you there. And I would very much like a conveyor to bring the cakes out. There we are. Now, all that remains is the jam, which we should be able to very convenient... No, that's a kitchen. Very conveniently, just run all the way up here and then in. There we are. I think that is actually quite lovely. I want to make sure that this is only going to accept cakes, just in case I change something later on and then break everything. Okay, jam will be delivered as soon as I bring the berries down. At this point, I could just as easily have a silo here to split it, but there's really no reason to, I don't think. We can just very conveniently have this split in this direction, like so. That I'll probably rotate this block there. We'll just pop that there and then grab a splitter, just because it looks a little bit more appealing, I think. But there we are. That's pretty much given us as much efficiency as we can have here. We've now got 4 different kitchens, all dedicated to the production of berry cakes. There we are. Now that the berries are coming in, I mean, it does take a little while to deliver 4 berries, to be fair. That might be better served with... now we're actually seeing them splitting up a little bit, but that might be better served with a faster conveyor belt. There's always going to be a bit of inefficiency here, unfortunately. That's just the way that one's going to be. I could have another farm delivering berries across, but I think we've done enough there for now. We have now unlocked the Magic Forge and the Void Obelisk. This is particularly useful. It was more useful when, for example, fertilizer was jam up a pasture, because you would never have enough use for all of the fertilizer you would be producing across a town. So the Void Obelisk became very, very important. But for now, this seems to be good enough. There we are, and that is looking very, very good indeed. It does take 2 gem, though. It takes quite a lot to get all of that going. The cake kitchen is pretty much backed up as much as it can be, and we can put steam boosters in every single one of these if we want to. Hopefully, we are seeing, well, it is rather slow. Maybe we do need to start considering setting up some metal conveyors. That may well be worth it to us. Or we could alternatively have a tiny little minecart that can move a reasonable amount of produce back and forth as needed. It's quite a tight little build, this, for that kind of movement of resources. There are other options as well. Of course, we could have a little silo here and a boat that would be able to move shocking amounts of berries along the way. But it isn't a lack of berries that's the problem here. It's the speed at which we can move them. I guess we could just check. Now, have I seen before if berries... They can move along this. I think this is a case for us to upgrade then. I think this is a pretty solid instance where an upgrade it would be better for us. Okay, well, that's going to be awkward, I'm going to be honest, to get all of this sorted out where I need it to be, but we'll make it work. I'll very carefully delete these and the scaffolding without deleting anything on top of it. But there we are. That should do. Right, let's grab a chute then. And we don't particularly need to worry too much about the chutes here, since everything that can activate on a conveyor belt can activate on a chute as well. There we go. And over here. We do need to be quite explicit with the way that we rotate these. Now, getting this... Oh dear. See, that's the problem. Is using the right mouse button to try and rotate the camera whilst you've got something selected, whilst there's a lot of those things in the world where you're looking at the moment, well, that can lead to accidental deletions fairly easily. There we go. Just have to remove that so I can better see the area. Very careful as I'm rotating this camera. There we go. And we should be able to just hook all of that up. Oh, yes, of course. We do still need the output there. Can we squeeze that? Nah, of course we can't. Okay, well, we're going to have to remove a few things in here just so I can see down there. It is... Can we not remove that? There we go. All the way down, please. There we are. And then we can get in there. That is sugar. Oh, of course. Of course it's sugar. Well, that's why nothing's working, because I'm being a derp. Who would have thought it? There we go. Now we can put things back in place. Everything works as if I wasn't an idiot. Marvellous how that happens. There we go. Okay. So the berries are now going to be moving a little bit faster, and that will hopefully mean that we can supply everything we need. Three conveyor belts are going to be able to fill this faster than one chute are going to be able to pull it out. So that's going to be fine for us. And this is producing the gem about as fast as we possibly can. So there we are. We are now actually producing 1 berry cake every 10 seconds, as advertised. Marvelous. The next step, of course, will be to add steam, but I think we can come back to that in a little bit. Right, let's have a look at what we can now look into. We now need to look into jewelry. Okay, so much of these items are going to require magic jewelry, which is going to require jewelry, mana, power, and okay, well, we can hopefully get to that then. We've already got mana power is going to require mana transmission, mana purification, and base level 7. So we in fact need to level up. And at this point, we do now need the metal conveyor belts and the mana crystals. Everything comes together in the end. Now, where are we going to set up the production of those belts? I mean, it would make sense to put it over here. I think it would probably make the most sense to put it in this area because we've already got a lot of machinery required for producing them. Alternatively, I could have the conveyor belts delivered here. We are already stockpiling the necessary items. In fact, we're making the gears here. I mean, it's going to be a little bit slower as a consequence, but that isn't necessarily the worst thing. Alternatively, I could just have the metal plates and the gears themselves delivered to a new machine shop. This forge is producing the metal plates and is already over full as a direct consequence of that. I could have a conveyor bring those metal plates out back and just split off into this machine shop and then into the other down here, and then all that would remain then is to deliver the conveyors themselves. Where are the conveyors? The conveyors are just down here. We can easily have a wagon or maybe even a caravan bring that along. I think that's actually a pretty solid idea. I think that will work out quite well for us. So let's go ahead and make sure there's plenty of room down here. Now, I'm going to want to level up the terrain just to make sure that we've got plenty of room for everything we're going to be working on just down here. Let's bring that all the way down. There we go. We're going to need at least enough room to also have a barn. So we'll go ahead and place that down first. This barn, of course, will exist purely to hold metal conveyors. We're going to want a lot of these. We will then have a new machine shop. This one is going to require... oh, have we run out of... Oh, we have. We don't have any more peeps. Well, that's rather awkward. What about New Town? Since you enjoy all of the luxuries that life has to offer, let's go ahead and give you another level 5 house right there. There we go. Perfect. In fact, I'm starting to think maybe we should put some more houses down here in general. Let's have another level 5 house. There we are. Look at those beautiful purple roofs. Marvellous. And, you know, for good measure, we'll give you another one as well. There we go. That's given us plenty of potential employees now. Let's go ahead and set up metal conveyors. We're going to need regular cloth conveyors, iron plates, and gears. We can bring those along. We've got the gears right here that we can happily share just in there. There we are. Of course, we're going to need a grabber as well. Actually, no. No, I fancy not. Let's have that just peel off from this particular conveyor, but I want the barn to get priority. There we are. Let's give you a pusher just to make sure that this barn gets make sure it's always topped up with gears. I want a full barn of gears at all times. Now then, how are we going to go about you? I think one thing that we can do is have that peel off a little bit earlier, and then we're going to remove that all the way down. There we go. Now the iron bars can easily split off there, like so, but otherwise run all the way down. There'll be a little bit of scaffolding to support it as well. I'm fine with that. Let's pop down a little bit more scaffolding. So something like this right there. There we go. So that should bring everything we need in terms of the iron bars at the very least. We will prioritize making the gears and the iron wheels. We're going to need the gears made frequently to support the production of the machine shop over here anyway, so it makes sense to me. We definitely want to be removing the metal conveyor belts. There we go. Has this been set up? Excellent. Okay, now we just need a little road. Oh, it's been a while since I've made a little road. I kind of miss it, actually. We've spent so long building up the actual function of the town, we haven't spent nearly enough time prettifying it. And that, in my humble opinion, is a great injustice. Do we want to use a caravan? Caravans carry enormous amounts of materials, so I'm not entirely certain on that one. How's this workshop doing? Oh, we are not producing enough. It's because we've recently upgraded a couple of houses. Okay, that's fine. We will begin production of pickaxes again reasonably soon. I'm thinking the amount. How long does it take to make a cloth conveyor? It only takes it takes 12 seconds. So yeah, a wagon is going to be more than enough for us. Let's get you going. I would like you to remove. And we're going to set up something similar here. I'll prioritize the delivery of the cloth conveyors into this, but we'll have a separate silo. Let's move you along. Just over there. No. Damn it. There we go. Move you there. I want a silo here set up for the storage of cloth conveyors for the use in other industries. I'm just going to move the barn briefly so that I can access the conveyor down here. And we'll just have that come on out and then in like so. I'm going to want a pusher on this block just to make sure that this barn gets priority. We always want this barn full so that I can use it for construction whenever I need. And there we go. This wagon will bring along a nice little stack of 4 conveyors. That'll take it, well, I mean, to get through those 4 conveyors, as long as it only takes 1. Yes, it's going to take a while. So it'll easily have enough time to get back, pick up another load of cloth conveyors and deliver it. If we add steam boosters and such, it will speed this up. But for now, I think we're okay. And we have got metal conveyors being delivered. That is absolutely wonderful. Is there anywhere down here that would benefit from the presence of iron conveyors? I don't really think so. Down here, much the same. Everything is backed up. We don't need more conveyors delivering these items. So I think we're, for the most part, quite fine. I don't see anything over here either, really. So for the time being, I think we're good. And this one pasture is managing the fertilizer costs of all of these locations. Now, these ones haven't been set. Oh, no, they have been. I did set them up to use fertilizer. I was going to make an excuse why that was the case, and that this one pasture that isn't even producing fertilizer as its primary resource, it would be able to produce fertilizer a lot faster if it was just producing fertilizer. But one pasture can supply how many? Let's have a quick look. I think it's only delivering to 2 of these 4. So 2, that's 5. So it's producing 9. It's supplying 9 farms with fertilizer. Again, the void obelisk was pretty much when fertilizer would back up. That was the only thing I ever used it for. Everything else, I would make more factories to use it, but you would never be able to match the production of fertilizer in your town. You had to get rid of it. It was quite funny in that regard. Okay, so we are now. How many berry cakes are you carrying? Well, I can't see that there. Only 4. Well, you know what? 4 is fine. At least all of our houses are getting some berry cakes here and there. That's perfectly fine. There we go. And another 2 as well. A nice little income. That's going to start going down pretty sharply, but we will get there. Now, we do need to start gathering mana crystals. They are produced with a magic forge. Now, where are we going to find some mana crystals? I believe just over here. So just behind our farms. In fact, there's quite a lot of mana shards down there. Are there any nearer locations? We've got a large collection, a large crop of mana crystals over here as well. Okay, I think we're probably going to go for these mana crystals up here near Mechville. And we might extend this out, or maybe we'll just have the production down here, not necessarily the use. I'm not sure, although of course we could just hop, skip, and jump over this water. In fact, let's do that. Let's find out what we've got. We've got a lot of nice things over here: coal, iron, fire crystals, air crystals, earth crystals. The only mana crystal we lack over here is water, and I don't actually think we've seen water. No, we've got a tiny little crop of water crystals over there, and a little bit over here as well. So we've got water and air and mana over here, whereas down here we've got earth, fire, air, and mana. If we can find water over here, this is basically the perfect location for a magic town. I'm willing to spend a lot of money just to see. We could have something in it. I mean, that's a tiny amount of firestones. I'm going to be honest, that's almost an unusably small amount. Still, there's something about all of the elements being kind of present in this area. We've got water, earth, fire, and air, and enough coal to run the magic forge. Yeah, I think the terrain has dictated that this is going to be the site of a new town. Oh my lord, it's going to be hectic. We desperately need to redefine some of our towns. We desperately need to streamline the way that we're going to be bringing materials along. Right now, our steam locomotive really is only supplying Old Town with food. Getting a large food production area properly set up, and then a train that will branch off a main kind of trunk line. The trunk line will visit all of the towns, but each train will be specifically set up to visit a different type of production area. So we would have one train whose job is to gather food, and then it would be the only train that would take the turn to go and collect more food, and then it would just run through all of the towns, stopping at the one stop in each town to offload food into the correct building, so on and so forth. I think that will actually be really, really nice in time. But let's go ahead and start up our little area. We'll start with the industry side of it. So we want a magic forge. Let's go and find you, magic forge. We've got stone bricks, reinforced planks. Going to be using those again. But okay, processes magical items using heat and pressure. Let's pop you down and see what we can do. So the only thing we can do right now is mana crystals. Well, that's the only thing we need right now. Mana bricks are going to be necessary in time. We can later on make mana pipes, magical rails, magic conveyor belts, and omni pipes, the be-all, end-all of logistics in this game. But what we want here is mana crystals. So we're going to want fuel. Coal is plentiful. Also, wood is plentiful. We're also going to want mana shards. Okay, that's fair enough. And the blue coins. Well, we've got a healthy supply of blue coins. Now, the thing here, this is going to be a heavy mining area, as much as it's going to be a magical town. The magical town, like everything, lives on the backs of the workers. There are going to be people, men, women, children, donkeys, down in those mines, toiling day and night, never seeing the sun, so that people on the surface can enjoy their magical forks and sonic spoons. And it will be Comrade Donkey down there. Of course it's going to be Comrade Donkey down in the mines. Who else would be down in the mines? Okay, so we're going to want to set up a production of pickaxes. That's just the way it's going to be. We need those pickaxes, which means we need everything that's going to go into making those pickaxes, because, yeah, it's going to be a pretty tough time. We're going to want at least one mine to start with. All we really want to get set up here is the mana crystals themselves. So let's pop down one mine and then work backwards to everything else that we're going to need for that one mine. Now, where are the mines? There's the fishery. There we are, mine right there. Pump. We are going to definitely want the supply of pickaxes, because we are going to be tapping these underground nodes, which means we need pickaxes to be made. So next up, we are going to want a... do we have a workshop down here? No, we don't. Okay, well, let's go and grab the workshop then. What are we going to need for pickaxes? There we are. Pickaxe is going to be reinforced plank and an iron plate, which means we need another workshop to make the reinforced plank. Let's get you sorted out. That's going to require iron, nails, which means we need a forge. And we are all out of available peeps, so let's go and add some more workers. Sure. Magro, you deserve some level 5 houses. That's absolutely a given. In fact, you're going to have 3 of them. There you go. You go down the central road there. Now we're going to want one forge. This forge will need coal. It's fine. We've already got a mine. We'll produce both the iron plates and the nails here. That shouldn't be too difficult for us to manage both of those in one building. We're not going to have 2 buildings working on that. I don't think that's necessary here. We are, however, going to require a lumber yard, a lumber mill, rather, to make the planks that we're going to need. And finally, last but certainly not least, we're going to need a forester. That is a lot of buildings. An awful lot of buildings. And ultimately, we're going to need a barn as well to put all of these wonderful crystals into. There we go. So these are all the buildings that we're going to need to start the smallest part of this industry. Oh my goodness. Now, looking at everything, I think this would be the best deposit to have our mine at. It'll gather both the coal and the mana shards. That being said, if we have the mine over here, we'll hit the mana shards, the iron ore, the coal, and we can run a mine shaft all the way over to that coal as well. So actually, in hindsight, in retrospect, I believe is the correct term, we'll pop it just down here. Because initially, this will be able to mine all of the items that we want. We want coal, we want iron ore, and we want mana shards. There we are. So we're going to be spending a little bit of yellow coins and some red coins to gather everything that we need here. There we go. Now, next up, we're going to want a forge. The forge is going to be required to, well, there's going to be a few things that require this. We're going to have a magical forge, and we're obviously also going to have a magic forge. Now, we just need the fuel, and this one needs the fuel and the iron. Okay, so I'm thinking the way we're going to want to run this, we'll have mana crystals delivered here, iron delivered all the way over here, and then we will have coal delivered between them, and that should be fine. We'll have a little branch there, and a little branch over here. There we are. We will, of course, set up a splitter block down here. We want to make sure that this is going the right way. And then we are going to set up the grabbers ahead of time to make sure that I'm getting the right stuff. So we want coal going down the middle line. We want iron going down the outer line. Oh, no. Let me rotate that around. We want iron going down the outer line. And finally, we want the mana crystals or mana shards. There we are, going down this line. There we go. Now we can hook all of these up. There we are. And we are already producing the mana crystals. Now again, we are going to need, this is not a desire, it is a need. We are going to need mine shafts. If only to access the coal over there, but odds, eventually all of these deposits will deplete, so the mine shafts are going to be necessary in gathering those in any kind of capacity. We'll pop, oh, there we go, we've already got gold ingots and polished stones available to us. That's quite nice. Now, I do believe that this is not going to be able to pull out, oh, no, I take it back. It can pull out the mana crystals. I always seem to get that wrong for some reason. Not sure why, but there we are. There we go. Let's go ahead and have a look at what we're going to research next. We can research nothing. We have got to gather up the mana crystals before we can upgrade our base. And I think that's where we'll wrap up today's episode once we've got that. Now, we want to start bringing in some lumber. Let's first move these workshops just to the side there. The forester can happily sit here and will probably produce all of the wood that we are going to need. Let's put it down there. Now, this is going to need everything coming out of the forge and the planks. And this one is just going to require a little bit coming out of the forge and the reinforced planks. So the way I'm going to set this one up is we'll have this living just down here. This one can exist just to the side of it with enough room to split off. Now this one is going to require both the nails and the iron plates. This one only requires the iron plates. So let's set up those grabbers ready. There we go. And I think... sure, we'll set all of those up like this. So this one, iron plates, please. This one, iron plates as well. White as well. Actually, thinking about that, I don't strictly need to do it that way. I can just have it split using a splitter. There's the nails, though. There we are. Now, these ones are unfortunately going to require conveyors. However, that being said, at this point, I could comfortably use the metal conveyors if I really wanted to. I think I'm okay with this for now, though. Let's pop down the splitter right here. There we are. Now, this is going to produce nails much faster than it's going to produce iron bars, simply because everything required to make a nail is less than everything required to make an iron plate. So the moment that those materials are there, if we're running at capacity, the nails will always get priority. If we want to ensure that this is split evenly, then we have to use a separate forge. But I think for now this is okay. I would actually like more production here, so I'm gonna. Actually, we're gonna pop lots of people in here. In fact, we're gonna get more people to put in there. Let's go ahead and upgrade this house to 4. There we go. Trying to only have as many as I need where I can. There we are. 800% production. That's perfect. And now that these are starting to back up, eventually it'll load up in there, and then the iron plates once again will start being delivered. So, yeah. And so this is going to be required to just bring those across. Of course, set that up to grab the reinforced planks. There we go. And now, all that I require are the planks going in here. So first and foremost, let's deliver the wood there. And then the planks down here. There we are. Lovely. And you know what? I'm going to try and stop being so compulsive about putting down grabbers when there is literally only one thing it can grab. I will have it there because I need the grabber since it's not coming out the front door. In that case, I will go ahead and police it down. Because why not? I've already got the grabber there, but I will try. I will try for those of you whose brains are starting to itch a little bit. I don't often make allowances for people who've got itchy brains. That sounds like very much a you problem, not a me problem. But this one time, I hope you appreciate it. We will need these pickaxes delivered. We are getting them made over here. But I'm thinking having conveyor belts all over the place, nah. Not today. Not today. We are going to have this delivered to the mine via a road. And because I can, let's go ahead and pop that little road right up to the doorway down there. I know it's not exactly lined up with the doorway, and that does bother me more than it should, if I'm honest. But okay. There we are. As I was saying, we've not spent nearly enough time making things beautiful around here. But there we go. That is marvellous. And let's go ahead and pop down a little wagon. We don't need it to be a caravan. That would be far, far more than we need. But this will do wonderfully. There we are. And I believe if we look at the mining overlay, we will see... doesn't quite reach. So we do need to sink a mine shaft over here. That is going to be required. But that's fine. And since I'm doing it anyway, I may as well take the mine shaft out just a little bit further so I can hit a couple of things as well. And we'll bring it down and up a little bit. There we go. So this little mine now should actually be, for the most part, quite capable of managing this rather small production. There's not a lot that it's having to do. This one mine is having to gather a lot of things, so that is going to slow it down. Thankfully, the pickaxes are being delivered reasonably fast. I mean, honestly, we would need these being delivered to it a lot faster. But for the moment, the production of the iron plates is the limiting factor here. Maybe some more peeps helping out would be enough. That is definitely something we can look into. I'm not sure if you can add more. Actually, you might be able to take it all the way up to 10. Let's go and have a quick look. How many people are working there? There's only 3 people working over here. Well, I feel that maybe you deserve a couple of extra nice houses. Let's give those to you. There we go. And let's go and add up as many people as we can in this mine. Or at least to the point that... Wow, that is kind of bonkers, actually. At this point, I feel that if we're starting to make any kind of backlog, we're not quite on the iron, but we are very much on the mana crystals. So that, well, no, we are starting to stockpile on the iron now as well. Okay, so at this point, I think we're doing quite well. We can add all sorts of other boosters to this mine eventually. Adding a steam booster down here would not be a bad idea, because that mana crystal does take a fair bit of time. And likewise, adding a steam booster over here. Maybe down here as well, though until we've actually got the production able to bring enough iron plates, there's no point down here. And the forester is doing a fine old job. But I think that is actually quite a nice little place to wrap up this return episode. I do hope you weren't missing Factory Town over much, but I very much hope you're glad to see its return. So what have we done in today's episode then? Well, first and foremost, we've upgraded the base, and we will be upgrading the base again in the very beginning of the next episode. We then spent a fair bit of time just rearranging this so that we are producing the berry cakes pretty much as fast as we can. Now, we do still need to add steam boosters, and that's probably what we're going to work on in the next episode when we set up the initial bit of research, is just adding steam boosters where we can to get a few more berry cakes being made, because we're pretty much making 4 or 5 with each train trip, and I feel that we can squeeze out a bit more out of this system. Quite a lot of things are backed up, and that means that we should just increase production where possible. But we have also started. We have begun our fledgling magic industry with the storage of mana crystals. There is a lot more that we're going to be doing, but I would say that now we are actually producing mana crystals. We are now at the very beginning of the end game. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. I really hope you will join me for the next. But until then, and as always, do take care of yourselves.